I'm so extra hype right now? I have no idea. Maybe because it is Thursday, for one, and maybe because I have a guest on that I have not seen in a long time. Of course, I see her on social media, but I feel like, does that really count? If you have not seen them in person for a long time, does that count? Y'all need to tell me in this age of COVID pandemic land. Hey, everybody, if you do not know who I am, it's possible because I am a little crazy. My name is Nicole D. Vick. Y'all might have just came across this page randomly, so I just need to tell you who I am. My name is Nicole D. Vick. Hey, and I am a public health professional, social justice advocate, a mom, a writer, all sorts of fabulous things. And I haven't seen you all since August. We missed our um, August episode, September episode, and it was just a lot going on in September. And so it was August, and then here we are now in October. So, really happy to see y'all. Now, I just want to tell you though, I was so busy in that time that you didn't see me. I was doing things. I was making things happen. For one thing, I did start school in August. I am working on my doctorate degree in organizational change and leadership at the University of Southern California. Woo woo! I am a triple Trojan. This is my third time at USC. I guess I like to spend lots of money on stuff. I don't know because you know that school ain't cheap. But I just really felt like it was the only school to attend at the time. It's virtual. I guess it's virtual. It's online. And some of the other programs that I was looking at were not online. And I just didn't think I could do driving to and from school. So I was like, no, let's just try USC. And I did get in. So I'm excited. I actually even got a scholarship, which is really exciting as well. I had my book 1 year book anniversary of pushing through, finding the light in every lesson in September. Really excited about that. I didn't do anything specific about that, but I just made note of the occasion and was really happy about that book being out for 1 year. Let's see what else happened. I had a nail polish party. Y'all know I love my nail care and self care. And so I worked with Trina, who was actually one of our guests some time ago, and we did an event together. There's the photos of the event. We were at LA Grind Coffee and Tea Bar, Black owned business. Really, really happy that I connected with Vanessa, who owns that place. And look, everybody did their nails. It was an amazing experience. And even so, with that event, I showed everyone this product that I'm going to be putting out for the holidays, my nail care self care box. And then I turned 43. So that's me with my donut cake because, I love the donuts, baby. Uh, and and if that is not, just the ultimate, I have another book. I'm releasing another book in 5 days. It is called Push Through 52 Weeks of Light in Tough Times. So, this book, yes, is a guided journal. Y'all know we've been working from home up in this panoramic pandemic panini Pandora's box, and during all of this time, there has been a lot of stuff going on. So there's a pandemic, but then there's this fight for social justice when George Floyd was killed. Actually, I think today would have been his birthday. And so I'm like, what kind of world do I want for myself? Because I'm not dead yet, baby. I'm still here. And for my child, for everyone. And, one thing I really believe in is manifestation. You got to write it down and make it plain. And so the journal was my way of, hey, let's think about quotes that are inspirational and attach some writing prompts. So I didn't just throw quotes in there like, yay, figure it out. Put a quote there and then wrote a writing prompt so that you have some direction and guidance towards getting through the book. So I'm excited about that. It will be on Amazon on Tuesday. I'm like, what? It was the quickest book I've ever written. I don't know if I ever write one that quick ever again, but maybe so. Now, you might think this child is crazy. She got a book, two books, a nail polish subscription box, doing all this stuff. She must be fearless. She must be so brave and just like this bossy brave girl. That is absolutely 100% false. Yes, it's true. I do all the things. Part of that is I think I'm a little bit off kilter, just a tad. But I often think that you kind of have to be afraid and push through that fear. Just do it anyway. Like, I'm not sure what's going to happen next, but I'm going to keep going. And that's kind of pretty much how I think about things. Now, October is National Depression and Mental Health Screening Month, really important month. And October is also Halloween, and October has also been Squid Game life. I don't know if y'all watching Squid Game, but that's some scary shit, right? And a little bit gruesome too, but scary. Most importantly, so I want to have a real around Black women's mental health and our relationship with fear and some of the other emotions and things that we sort of deal with. Now, I use the phrase embracing our fear in the title, and I'm not sure. I want my clinicians, my clinical folks, Nomsa and Janelle, to correct me. Should we be embracing fear or not? But we need to come through with some kind of understanding. Embracing fear. I don't know if I want to give fear a hug. I think I want to put fear in the closet and push it away. We'll see. But y'all have been talking a lot. I've been talking too much. And I want to bring on my co-host. And I hear she has entered the room. She is here. So let's bring Nomsa on. Come on, girl. Where you been? What you doing?
Hey. I had to take care of a few things, but I'm here.
Oh, you got to take care of some things. That's what grown Black women do. Take care of things. Handle business. I was like, yes. And I don't know why. Like, we'll figure it out later. I'm just like extra hyped. Did I drink some caffeine? I don't understand. But I'm really excited about this conversation,
Okay.
especially because October is Mental Health and Depression Screening Month.
Yeah.
Um, we got to have these conversations. Black women, we got a lot going on. Just what's your thoughts?
I mean, I appreciate, let's say what, in the last few years, trying to move away um, from the stigma of mental health or going to therapy or having someone to talk to. I think the pressures of being Black in America is wears thin on your psyche and mental health, and being able to create circles of folks, whether it's through your friends or other places. And I think, being having a therapist, is nothing wrong with having a therapist. Having someone in a neutral space to help you understand the messages that you tell yourself, reframe in those messages. When you talked about fear, where does that come from, right? And what's the source of that
Yes.
fear? And how do you turn that around and redirect that? So you could be redirecting it to push you or stretch you or to, cut out some toxic folks out of your life or whatever. So, embracing, I think, it'd be interesting to when Janelle comes on to talk some more about, uh, how we take that in. I don't see it necessarily as a negative, but it is what is driving that fear, right? To
Absolutely.
take that, to take that leap of either changing something in your life, whether it's a career or relationship or how you function in the world, but how do you do that in creating spaces to do that?
Absolutely. And speaking of fear, now I don't know you as to be a fearful person, but I want to ask you, has there ever been a time where you were like, I am scared as hell, but I'm going to still put my foot forward and walk into this anyway, whatever this is, walk right up into it. Have you ever had to do that? And what does that feel like?
All the time. You know what I'm saying? It's like all the time because you get comfortable in certain spaces, and the stepping out or making a change or deciding to do something different is scary, right? And you start to talk yourself out of it. So you start to think about all the things that could go wrong sometimes versus thinking about all the things that could go right.
Yep.
Um, and I think I think what I say sometimes quite a bit is like, well, the worst case scenario is I don't get it.
Right.
or something, or something like that, right? Or but it's like that's the worst case scenario. So if I don't try, if I don't put myself out there, I don't know. But I will say that fear or doubt or questions of either I'm not smart enough, or do I have the right experience, or whatever. Sometimes those we create barriers or walls that prevent us from jumping, from taking that leap. And sometimes we just gotta, struggle and fight through it. And whether cry yourself through it or whatever, you just gotta do it.
Push through it, okay? Whatever that is, and just quiet that noise or
Yeah,
put the headphones on. Like maybe I can't quiet the noise. I'm gonna put these headphones on and I'm gonna march forward. I love that. And I think you're absolutely right because there's a lot of times where I'm like, I don't know what the hell, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not really sure. A little scary, but I'm just gonna go. And sometimes it works out. And even if it doesn't, I feel like you still learn something. And I think that's also
yeah,
the big picture of that as
yeah,
well.
yeah.
All right, you ready? Ready to bring on Janelle?
Let's bring on Janelle.
Come on, Janelle. Yes.
Hello, hello.
Look at you bringing that girl magic.
Hi, y'all. It's
Hey,
been a long time
oh my
since I've
gosh,
seen
I
both of
know.
y'all. And it's funny because I was trying to think back to one, Nicole, where I first met you, but also where I first met you, Nomsa, because we ended up having not only a professional link, but a personal one too. And so when we met, you were actually the mom of one of my sister's cheerleaders.
That's right.
And so when I met her, she was a cheer mom. And
That's
so it was like,
right.
oh, hey, how you doing? Okay,
Oh,
okay. And then, going into the public health realm, I went, I know her. I know that name. So that was a cool little coincidence. But
Yeah.
hello, hello. So
welcome. Tell us who
yeah.
you are in your background. And I also want to say both of you all have very strong clinical mental health backgrounds. And I don't think, Notes, if you've ever really talked about that here. So, Janelle, if you want to share who you are and your background and what you're doing, I would love that. And then, Nomsa, if you can, kind of dovetail on that, because I don't think people realize the doctor in your name is, well, actually, a doctor is something different, right?
Yeah.
Girl, I don't know. Y'all just go ahead.
So let's see, background. In a nutshell, I have a bachelor's degree in African American Studies from UC Berkeley. Go Bears! And after I finished my undergraduate degree, I actually started working at Planned Parenthood for about 7 years in sexual reproductive health. So pretty big, significant public health background, which is how I ended up meeting Nicole. And then towards the end of my career at Planned Parenthood, decided to go back to school to be a therapist. And so I went to Antioch University, which is here in LA, and earned my master's degree in clinical psychology, specializing in applied community psychology, and also specializing in affirmative LGBT psychology, because those were two really big passions of mine. One, to be able to work within systems with the community, and also working with the LGBT community as well. Since then, I have become licensed as a marriage and family therapist and certified as a perinatal mental health therapist, which I could totally go on a whole nother thing and
Wow.
talk a lot about that as well. But in a nutshell, that's kind of the history of Janelle.
That is amazing. And I think one of the things we were talking about before we actually came on, Nosa, we were talking about like how important it is to have therapists that look like you and just that shared experience. Um, even and I was just even sharing my dentist is black and how I relate to him and how I have his phone number, and when I see him it's like I'm visiting my cousin, and he asked me how Andrea's doing, and we're talking about the property I've bought, and he's asking me about the stock market, like, or if I come in there with the book that the book I wrote and he says, you how many copies you got, and he buys all of them, like that there's this relationship. Like I really feel like that man is my family. And that's how we relate. The lady that works at the front desk, same thing. Like we're all just, I just feel connected to him and how important and significant that is. So I don't know. I'm just glad that you're in this field because honestly, people need you. And I'm just like kind of like ooh, having like a woo woo moment about that. Like, wow. Are you laughing at
Love
me?
it. I love it.
Laughing
I
with
love
you,
it.
with you. And so I also am an LMMFT. I'm not practicing right now. And actually, I got to talk to Janelle some when she was deciding what she wanted to do. So I was happy to see her move in that direction. There definitely needs to be more of us. In these spaces, I think it is better when we can connect with someone who looks like us, who, has a lived experience, even if it's, not all of us are the same or grown up the same, but at least it's nice to see a reflection of you on the other side of either right now a camera or on the other side of that in that room where you're sitting. So happy.
Absolutely.
Awesome, awesome. So the title of this episode, Janelle, is "Embracing Fear, Using It to Your Advantage." But as I was starting to think, I was like, are we messing up telling people to embrace fear? Like, is that a good idea? Should we be telling people to walk into fear? Like, I don't know. Especially Black women. Like, do we need to be telling them to embrace this kind of thing? What do you think? Especially when we hold so much of what happens to us in our bodies. I think we do that, unfortunately, better than anybody else, and that's not a good thing, right? Is that something we should be talking about?
It's absolutely something we should be talking about. And I don't know if embracing the fear is what we necessarily need to do. I think that we should acknowledge it and be able to work through the fear. I think that sometimes we can find ourselves being paralyzed by fear and feeling like we can't do anything due to the fear. And so I heard you say earlier that the urge is to want to like put it in the closet and pretend like it's not there and just move on. But what I like to say is the stuff that we put away in the closet, the stuff that we pretend like is not there, is going to start banging on the door and it's going to get bigger and it's not going to let you silence it. It's not going to let you pretend like it's not there. And something that could have started off as a tiny fear can turn into this big bad monster that you've allowed your imagination to let grow. And so what you are now fighting is the story that has been told, is the mythology of this thing that you were afraid of, as opposed to actually just dealing with the actual fear and pushing through that.
I don't know why Janelle over here telling on me because I am the queen of it being like this. But I done made up this whole story. I got characters and settings and scenery and the time of year, the weather. I done made this whole thing about what I think is gonna happen. And it's like, but Nicole, all you had to do was oh, for real, that's it. Oh, my bad.
Right.
And thankfully for me, I'm able to bother Nomsa or any of my other sister friends. Like, am I tripping? And they're like, yeah, you are. And then we kind of process it. But it's like you're right. It's unbelievable how you can just really take something that could easily be dealt with, maybe with a little help, and you just can just blow it all the way out of proportion. And that closet metaphor is actually really relevant because we all know what a closet looks like when it's overflowing and just out of control. Yeah, I don't know, Nomsa, did you have any thoughts about that? I really love that idea of acknowledging instead of embracing the fear.
Right. I mean, and I'd said a little bit something similar to that before Janelle had come on. And I think the other piece too is, you talked about having folks to go to. A lot of times is, we have these messages or we tell ourselves or we've learned from our families that, you don't talk about stuff outside, right? Or you don't share certain things. And so when you don't have a space to be able to share or talk things through or have a neutral person to help you solve the things that really you already have the answers for, right? But sometimes you just need someone to help guide you to that place. You gotta, we gotta move away from feeling like we gotta, we can't share stuff, because we got histories of secrets. And those secrets, like, Janelle's talking about the stories that we tell ourselves, we hold on to these secrets that create messages that then keep us from doing certain things or experiencing certain things, or, it dictates our decision making, right? And so having someone to be able to help you sort through that is a good thing. It doesn't have to be something that you got to try to figure out how to do in that closet by yourself. Right. And it, something you shouldn't be ashamed of.
Absolutely. And that shame will get you every time. And that assumption that nobody's going to understand will get you every time. I can't tell you the number of people that I've worked with who all kind of have the same story of, this is what's going on with me. I'm the only one who has to deal with it. Everybody else seems to be fine. So I don't want to burden them with my fill in the blank. And I'm like, I just want to get all of y'all in a room together so you can hear. You're repeating everything this other person has said. Is so many of you like this. And there is no reason why we can't come together instead of sitting in judgment of other people. And instead of assuming that, oh, that person's got it because they seem like they're so strong. And we all know about the stereotype and the badge of like the strong Black woman that, I'm sorry, is kind of working against us at this point, because it's no longer a compliment that you're a strong, independent Black woman. It's now you're strong and independent. Therefore, you don't need medical care. You don't need pain medication. You don't need support after you have a baby and you're going through postpartum depression and anxiety and psychosis. You don't need any of these things because you got it, because you're strong. It's like, I have it and I need help. I'm strong and I need support. I'm intelligent, I'm smart, I'm capable, I'm resilient, and I need my community. This is not an either or kind of thing. This is a both and.
Yes. Say it louder for the folks in the back that don't get it. Say that again for the folks in the back that don't get it.
Right?
I'm ready to give my little strong badge up. I don't want it no more. Somebody don't. I mean, and I mean that, in the way that we see it, the strong Black woman. But I even mean that just in general. Like, I don't want to wash dishes no more. I don't want to do any of this stuff. I don't want to clean up this house. I don't want to do none of it. I don't want to do any of it. This whole idea of I got it all together, I can take care of this, I can handle it all. I don't want it anymore. I'm like, where's the dishwasher? I'm finna buy a dishwasher, put it in the kitchen. I don't want to do none of this. Let somebody else do it. And I think it's a situation where it's about saving our lives. Like, I'm not trying to stroke out at 50 because I'm taking care of myself and everybody else and nobody's worried about me, but I'm over here stressed out, So, I think that's the other side of it, that we can probably even talk to, the public health aspect of it, that honestly, this stuff lives in our bodies, and compromises our immune system. It's more, it's yes, about being depressed and all those things, but it also just literally can kill us, by way of some of the health issues that we see, diabetes, high blood pressure, and all those things that really plague our communities. We often blame it on the food. And I mean, there probably is some aspect of it that's grounded in that, but a lot of it is when you are stressed, your immune system ain't right, and all other kind of things start happening. And next thing you know, you on medication because your blood pressure, they can't control it. It's out of control. You're on insulin because you're diabetic. And so I think that's the other thing that really I've been thinking a lot about. And going back to the fear conversation a little bit, even our fears are different. Our fears are different. It's not about, oh, am I gonna miss my spa day or my golf day with my friends? Our fears are rooted in white supremacy. Are my children going to survive? And what's going to happen to my family? And sometimes those fears again can just really take hold of us, and keep us from moving forward. So any thoughts about that? Like, we're talking about life. We're not talking about, oh, oops, I just need a spa day. It's a little bit more than that. And I think I want to really drive that home.
Yeah, it's difficult because especially with the pandemic and everything that's been happening in our faces around the violence and police brutality and Black Lives Matter and all of these things, because the other thing is these things have always kind of been going on. I think the big difference between what's going on now is that we are inundated with it and it's in our face 24/7. It's in our hand, on our phones, it's on our TVs, it's on our computers, it's everywhere. And not saying that, the easy thing would be to just shut it off and be done with it. You cannot get away from it. Even if you're not somebody who's personally affected by what's going on, you are still getting it. You are getting this, oh, I forget the phrase that people use, like, is it trauma porn or something, where it's just like this immense amount of violent, just dehumanizing things that you're seeing every day, so much so that it starts to get jaded, so much so that it stops being such a big deal. And so all of that taken into consideration just contributes to the dehumanization of Black bodies, and we stop really paying attention to how it's going to affect us a little bit different than maybe it affects other people. And I don't know if the two of you had this experience, but during that summer, the summer that will live in infamy, I can't tell you the number of white people who called or reached out to me and broke down crying because of how affected they were about what was going on, in the vein of, well, I want to check on you. And it's like, are you checking on me though? Is this a check-in? It doesn't feel like it. Maybe it started out as a check-in, but it sounds like you're trying to make me do the work of making you feel better, or you want me to reassure you that you're one of the good ones and that I'm not mad at you. And when I express that I'm angry and I post on my social media that I'm tired, that I'm not talking about you. And so that's just another layer of pressure and another role that you're putting on my shoulders to bear, in addition to the other 10 that I already have that I never asked for.
Child. And on that note, we're gonna take a commercial, and then I want Nomsa to come back and respond, because that's major. Yes, it has happened to me. Yes, but come on, Kwame, take us on to a break, and Nomsa, you can bring us back. Oh, I always be dancing on the commercials. But I just want to say, gotta love Pyro Media and all the Pyro Media members and folks that are producing all these fabulous shows. I saw my boy Dante and all the other folks that have shows on the Pyro Media Network. So just make sure you check them out when you can. And yeah, all right, Nomsa, come on.
Hey, Janelle just said, she said more than a word. So, there's not a whole much more to add, but I do just, want to say this. We talk about the weight on our shoulders. It's like, it is stressful being Black in America. I mean, let's just, put it out there. It is stressful being Black in America. And then add on being a Black woman in America. And then we add on what you all just talked about, that strong Black woman, right? So if she is okay, she appears to be okay, right? She's smiling on the outside. She seems like she's got it all together, but she is falling apart and breaking in the inside. And we have to do a better job of surrounding ourselves and others and checking in on folks, right? It's like, we've been isolated from folks, almost what, 2 years now?
Yeah.
And that takes a toll, right? And for some of us, it has not been safe to be at home. And what that means, right? So, when you think about this time of COVID, increased rates of partner violence, and other things, it's like, so, and where do you go? So if you are isolated, right, and you are at a time where you're not supposed to be out, and if you have the means to, if you have the means to have a virtual session with somebody, can you actually have that virtual session at home where it's not safe, right? So it's like, where do so again, I think it's about reframing what things mean, right? And how we take that in and how we create support circles and networks, whether it be in a traditional kind of therapy form or in some group form. How do we create these spaces? You used to think, oh, I can go to church and talk to my pastor. Well, is that the choice for everybody? And is it the right conversation, right? Or are they gonna even hear the things in the right way? I am a believer. I have a spiritual understanding, but I also realize sometimes I just need somebody to really give me or challenge me or force me to look at something differently that I may not get somewhere else. And really, it's like normalizing creating these networks or support circles for ourselves.
Absolutely. Tasha, I just saw a comment come through. It said we need to redefine what it means to be strong. And I actually want to ask you, Janelle, if we could redefine what being strong means for Black women, what would that be? Because we already know what people tell us what it is and what we've kind of initially embraced. And now it's like, oh, wait a minute, hold on. So if we could define that, what would it be?
I think that being strong has a lot to do with feeling like you're able to be authentically you. And I think that strength comes from you being able to have the space to really understand and have a relationship with what it is that you want and knowing what it is that you don't and being able to pursue it and having the support system around you that's going to be there for you. And when I talk about support system, I don't mean like yes men and women. I mean, people who will challenge you. I mean, people who will love you. I mean, people who will be in your corner and give you the support that's going to help you to be the best you. And then also with strength, I always go back to, I'm laughing because I always go back to this with my clients in session. I think that strength is also your ability to stand in your truth, no matter what other people think about you. So much so that no one person is able to either ruin or make your day. That you can still feel good, that you can still feel confident, whether somebody's coming in to hype you up or somebody's coming in to bring you down. And let that hype be the candles on your cake and let that bringing you down be white noise in the background. So that would be.
Can you come on every month? Because we need this. I'm like, this is great, and I'm really loving, because as with anything, I'm listening to you, and it's probably because, of course, of your clinical your expertise, and of course I know you, but I'm like, is she talking to me? Like, oh my gosh, yes. So it's like, seriously,
I'm talking to me too. And that's real, I'm
Yeah.
talking to me too.
I think that's real, and I think that's also a really important thing to think about. People that look like or do have the skill set and the knowledge in the background, sometimes we gotta hype our own selves up too. Like, what the hell am I doing? And remind ourselves why we are here doing what we're doing. And I hear you on that one. Like, I'm telling you this, but for real, I'm telling myself the same thing. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And the only thing I will just add, though, is, and I think it's important when we talk about, being strong, is it's okay to fall apart. That doesn't make you weak, right? And I think that, it's because you got to, be strong, or, I can handle everything. That doesn't allow you or give you permission sometimes to fall apart. Sometimes we need to fall apart and cry. And it's like, it's okay. You're not weak because you do that, and being vulnerable. It's okay. I think those are also components and part of being strong. If that's the word, we're using, it is okay to fall apart. It is okay to be vulnerable. It is okay to open yourself up, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. But I think we get these messages that tell us you can't do that. It's weak if you do that, right? And which is also like the wrong message to be telling men, right? Because then that also gives them these weird messages and thinking, right? That's a whole other
right.
vibe. But I think it's okay to. I want to just say, we all give each other some grace and permission to cry. I think I posted something once before. It's like, tacos fall apart, so can we.
Ooh, and I love tacos.
That's when I want to cry. When my tacos fall apart.
I know, I'm like, the taco, I mean, that might be.
Hey.
Because then you got to flip it, and then it's a sandwich. It's not a taco no more.
But we still gonna eat that taco, though.
We still gonna eat it, but hey.
But I think
I'm so glad that you said that. Yes,
it's
falling apart.
Point.
It is. It's necessary, and it's okay. And it is absolutely part and parcel of being strong, is to be able to realize, like, wow, this is a lot. Wow. And that includes taking breaks, and that includes stepping back from something because maybe you're too deep in it, and maybe you need some perspective and you got to pull back or take a pause. I love a good break. I always say the difference between a break and running away is that you come back. So take you a break. Take you a break.
Exactly. And I often too think there's two things I think about: breaks and rest, and sometimes even that discomfort and fear, or that discomfort in trying to be strong. That sometimes in that discomfort, that's just is a signal that there's going to be some sort of transition, some sort of growth, and that sometimes you just got to sit in it, or like, F it, no, go over here and sit down, leave me alone, give me a minute, and then I'll be back. So, you can kind of look at it both ways, right? And oftentimes for me, when I'm feeling away or feeling funny about something, I'm like, you know what? This probably means something is going to happen. And I don't necessarily think it's going to be a bad thing, but I just need to ride through this, just kind of just go with it, and not try to steer it. I'm going to force it this way. Let me just ride it. And then, wherever it ends up, then we'll figure it out from there. And I think that's a huge one too. Like, sometimes, I know I am type A, want to try to make it go this way. It ain't going that way. The steering wheel don't go that way. You got to go this way, or just let go of it. And sometimes that's really hard to just literally just say, I'm putting my hands up to it, and we're just going to see what happens next. So I think for me, at least, when some of those discomforting moments happen, it often just means either just taking your hands off the wheel, or, that means something is probably on its way, and I just need to just wait and see what happens next. Yeah.
Because we can't control everything.
We can't.
No.
Because we might want to. We can't control everything.
Nope.
And it's okay to let it go.
I'll be trying.
That acceptance, it can be hard to really accept that fact that you can't Not everything is going to be within your control. And the good news is not everything is within your control. You know, not everything is yours to manipulate and manufacture and make sure this and make sure that, and, you know, checking on this person's feelings and making sure this person's okay. No. Just put it down. Put it down. It's okay.
Drop the pencil.
Just drop it. Just okay. Because you'll figure it out and you'll work it out. And guess what? They will too. So you don't have to do that.
And it'll be okay in the end. I think that's sometimes what I have to remind myself. However it ends, it's gonna be okay, right? Like either it's gonna go this way or it's gonna go that way, but it's gonna go away. So you just need to let it happen, instead of trying to dictate it so much. So I don't know. So do you have any more questions, comments? I was going to kind of turn into Janelle's, maybe her practice, you know.
No, let's go ahead. Let's Janelle talk about what she's doing.
Tasha says she feels attacked. I just want to say that real quick. Let me get a question, and then Janelle, we can pivot. Do you think it's important for Black queens to not only check in with each other, but create safe spaces for each other to cultivate grace, nurturance, and sisterhood with each other? What y'all think?
Yeah,
I see nodding.
Yes, and yes, and you know, and I kind of touched on that when I was speaking before. It's like, you know, creating the, you know, those sister circles and or whatever you need. And it's like we have, Nicole, I'll just use us as an example. You know, we have our group where, you know, if something is not feeling good or whatever we're going through, we know we can reach out. And we also, when we pick up that something seems to be off the mark with one of us, we have no problem be like, okay, so what's going on? You know, and we, you know, we give folks space, but we also are like, hey, we here. Let us know, you know, we got you. And I think it is important to check in on folks. It's nothing wrong with it. Because sometimes if you don't, people may feel like they're by, you know, it's like I feel by themselves, and then, you know what? Some folks don't know how to ask for help, or they don't know how to have that conversation, right? And so I think it's just important that, you know, we just pay attention.
Yeah. And I've definitely been a recipient of a call from Nomsa. XYZ, you good? And I'm like, you know what? I'm good. You know, and I'm gonna let you know when I if things switch. I think I figured it out, and I'll, you know, we'll get there. And so, you know, but it just that fact of checking in, like, you okay? And I'm like, yeah, or no. Yeah, very important.
Yeah,
very important.
It's also really important to have that sense of connection to where y'all do know those things about each other, and that you know what it is that person needs or what they best respond to. So, for example, I know somebody that if they're going through it, they want you to show up at their house. They don't want you to call because they're going to avoid the calls. They don't want you to text. They want you to really get up in there and get in their face. There are other people that's like, look, don't you do that. Don't look. If I need you to connect with me, I will respond to your text. I will pick up the phone, but you know, I got this. And maybe I'm more introverted and I can handle it, but seeing your messages is helpful, even if I don't respond to it. So it's also about understanding what it is that we all need, because we all don't need the same thing. And it's going to look different for everybody. And you know, I always say that everybody's got their own little strengths. So you may have a circle of people where I could go to this person to cry it out. I can go to this person to vent to. I can go to this person and we can cook or drink some wine, and, you know, everything will be all good. So no, don't expect any one person to be that all for you. If they have something that's uniquely them that y'all can connect with, great. They're a part of your circle. Awesome. You know, and build from there.
I like that. I think what you're saying is, don't be that person that's always withdrawing from that account, right? That friendship account, always withdrawing. but you're not depositing, like, and I can honestly say, being self-aware, I know there was probably a point in time where I feel like I was withdrawing a lot, and I think even still that's okay. But if you're not doing it all the time, maybe there is a point in time where you really need that help. But I had to be like, okay, wait, I'm asking a lot from a lot of people at the all the time, and now it's time to figure out how I can deposit back, because you don't want to be that person like, damn, Nicole always got. There's always something wrong with this like, there's always something, right? So
yeah, I have a thing about not being able to vibe with people who are either always the hero of their story or always the victim of their story. I can't vibe with that. I can't. It can't all be one or the other. Like you got to have a mixture of stuff. Because I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
Like, you lying, girl. You don't know what you're doing.
you don't always have it. It don't always hit. It misses sometimes. And then if it's always falling apart, it's always terrible. It's always is there not one thing that has happened that How about the day you met me? Maybe that would be the one thing. I don't know.
Right.
Let's get it.
Yes.
I just give it the side eye. I'm not gonna throw them away, but I give it the side eye. It can't all be one thing.
I love it. I love it.
That is hilarious. And I can even say I've been lucky too. To some extent, I can even share with my adult daughter, but not too much, because I already learned too. Some things I can't tell her because she gonna fight. It's gonna be like hands, and I'm like, no, I just was trying to tell you what happened. I don't want you to go do nothing to nobody. Don't go call nobody. But even I love that from her too. I can kind of be like, dang, Andrea, this happened, and she'd be like, what? And, we can kind of talk about that, and and same with her. Some stuff she tell me, and I'm like, oh, well, let's talk that through, like, so really having those resources are really, really important. So, okay, Janelle, tell us about your business, your practice, and how people can get in touch with you, all that good stuff.
So my practice, funny enough, is called Embrace Wellness, talking about embracing things. And I serve clients all throughout California thanks to virtual therapy. I solely see people online via video, and I work with adults, individuals, couples, families. I work with them all, and a lot of the folks that I work with are those who are either dealing with fertility issues, are trying to venture out into wanting to become parents, or maybe they're struggling with the transition of newly becoming parents and trying to figure out who they are as a person, because once you have a child, it is no longer you, and you go through this kind of metamorphosis of, okay, now I'm this whole other person, but I'm still me in a way. I also work with couples who are going through that same thing, and families just trying to work on breakdowns in communication. I would say that's probably the majority of my clientele. And I was saying this earlier, because of COVID and how important mental health has become to folks, especially folks in the Black community who are looking for a Black therapist, I usually stay on the full side. I'm going to be honest. So there are opportunities for me to take on new clients depending on what week it is. So there may be times where I have some folks who are closing and I have a couple of slots, and then there might be times where I'm full. So you can find me on my website. It's justembracewellness.com. I also have an Instagram that's also at justembracewellness. And if anybody wants to email me, it's Janelle at justembracewellness.com. So.
See, booked and busy, honey. I know that's right. Like, yes, I'm doing this, and I'm actually busy. I'm actually full. I can't, But it also, I think, speaks to the need that you're feeling for people that look like you and me, that want to speak to someone that they can identify with. Doing really great work. I'm so excited for you and really happy and proud of you. I was trying to think the last time I saw you in person was that the day we went to go. Did you go with me to go get the vegan burger?
Yes.
Now we did. Do a do-over. You want to come with us? No,
we
gotta get some hamburgers.
We did, and they were good. I was surprised.
We might have to take notes, so we'll see. Our taste buds is different.
No, it was. It was very surprising. The burgers were actually good. I won't go so far as to say, "Oh, I can't tell the difference," but they were good. They were good.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, we ain't
Because I know the difference.
Right.
Okay, I got you. I got
You
you.
need to get some tater tots, no. So and they just opened a location in Culver City too. So
Oh,
we might have
okay.
Okay, all right.
see exactly. Well, any closing thoughts before we wrap up? I gotta, do my ending spiel and things. So I just want to know, so you have any closing thoughts? I think this was an amazing conversation.
I loved it.
And really helpful for me. I'm about to go in here and start journaling in my new guided journal, push through 52 weeks of light during tough times.
I mean, I think these conversations are conversations we need to make sure we have pretty regularly, right? Because it is important to normalize depression. You know what I mean? That might sound weird and crazy, but I think we all go through it at some point in our lives, and it is important to let folks know what's available or how to create spaces to get what they need, right? And so I think it's just important we continue to talk about creating safe spaces for us. All spaces aren't safe, right? And you can't talk to everybody. So it is about creating spaces with the right people, right? So you can get what you need for the right outcome. So yeah, I'm just glad to be able to connect. I'm so proud of her. I'm just like, I know she's doing amazing work. So good to see her in this space. I feel like I've watched you grow up. So I'm like loving it. So we'll continue to do this.
Yeah, I remember those days at Planned Parenthood. I remember.
Like yesterday. Lasting.
But then again, not really. Like yesterday, but then not yesterday. Like I'm like, because honestly, I've been working in public health 20 years. So it's like it wasn't it must have probably been has it been maybe 10 years?
I started working at Planned Parenthood in 2006 and left 2013. 2013, yeah. Because I've been in mental health for 10 years. Yeah.
See? So yeah, it's been a while.
It's been a minute.
But I'm really happy we could be connected. I mean, we were, like I was saying earlier, we were connected via social media, and that stands for something, but at the same time, it's not really the same, except for the day we went out to get burgers. That was in person. We
yes. Yes, it was, and it was fun.
Yeah, so we'll have to do more of that. Hopefully, outside opens back up all the way. Hopefully soon. So we can really think about doing maybe some events or something to really get other women together, because women have been wanting this and have been asking me about, like, how can we create these kinds of sister friends? How do we do these things? So there may be some thought behind trying to get that together too. So just put that out there as well, because you know me, I'm always trying to have an event, do something with somebody. But thank you, Janelle and Nomsa. We're going to close on out. So thank you all for stopping by this evening. We will see you hopefully next month. I'm not sure if we're going to do it in November, because we get into the holidays, honey. We'll try. Okay. But in the meantime, follow me on all my social media channels. I have a website, www.NicoleDvick.com. Look at me with my little sequin jacket on. Hey. I have my social media, my Facebook, Nicole D. Vick author, my Instagram. Again, please pick up my first book. I can for real say that. My first book, Pushing Through, Finding the Light in Every Lesson. It is on Amazon. It is on Walmart.com, Target.com, and some Black-owned bookstores. Just Google it. You'll see it because it's there. And then my second book will be out on Tuesday, Push Through, 52 Weeks of Light in Tough Times. And I got all the journal entry stuff, guided in journal quote thingies, and you can even, I looked at it the other day, I said, you can actually make this like a little coloring book. You can doodle on the side. It's things to do. So, and my nail subscription box. Look, I ain't playing with y'all. Y'all think I'm crazy. I ain't worried about none of it. My nail care and self-care box, baby, is coming November 1st. Just be ready for it. So thank you all for joining us. And we will see you maybe next month, maybe January 22. We don't know. We'll see. All right, y'all. Bye.
Bye.